Hello, this is Molly Reamer, and this is a Rituals of Returning video inspired by the Cauldron of Creation, which is our theme for April. So last week we already explored our herbal ally for April, and this is just a short supplemental cauldron themed resource for you as we continue to take some time to steep in the cauldron and bring our dreams into form. So for this reading, I am using the Beltane Seasons of the Witch Oracle, which was a gift from one of our wonderful community members last year, and I thought it was a good time. April's a good time to use that deck as we lead up into May. And then I'm having a little bit of an assist from the Daily Magic Oracle, which is one of Maya Toll's resources. This one is based on her book Letting Magic In. So it's kind of non-traditional in that in some ways it is mainly almost excerpts from her book instead of being like a quote-unquote true oracle. And then I also am using the Self-Sorcery Oracle by Lisa Lister. And the Self-Sorcery Oracle, actually, like Letting Magic In, is in many ways the information in this card deck is based on the book by the same name, Self-Sorcery. And however, there's the art and things that go with it, so it's a little bit more expanded than that. So we're going to go, and then I also have my own little cauldron cards, which is one of the resources that I created for this month's practice over on the Goddess Magic Mystery School. And so we're actually going to go ahead and start with the Maiden card. I feel like that's a good starting point for us today. And the overall message from the Maiden is: demand what is yours and take back what was taken. Reclaim until you've gathered all of you. And I think this connects to our Cauldron of Creation concept because essentially that is, we need to reclaim what is ours and reclaim ourselves, reclaim our lives in our own names, reclaim our time, reclaim our attention. Lots of reclamation. Take back what was taken, gather yourself all together, and then let yourself steep in the cauldron and see what wants to emerge, what you want to create. So, what are you reclaiming? What are you gathering? What are you taking back this season? What are you recollecting to steep in the cauldron? And so I'm going to check briefly with what the companion guidebook has to say about the Maiden card as well. And it says, let's take back the power of the Maiden. In many ancient cultures, maidens were considered to be divine manifestations on earth. And so in many ways, over the years, maidens have been reduced to being people who need to be saved and supported by stronger beings. But from this perspective, we say that a maiden is someone who's on the cusp of embracing her freedom and ready to enter the world as the sacred being she is. The maiden invites you to stand at the gate of your increasing power. So an affirmation for this week could be, I stand at the gate of my increasing power. You are guided to reclaim your inner warrior, affirmation, I reclaim my inner warrior, your divine feminine energy, I reclaim my divine feminine energy, and your primal force of creativity. I reclaim the primal force of creativity is another affirmation for you. Perhaps you are afraid of how powerful you truly are. You can feel it in your bones, but worry it will spin out of control. So are you afraid of your own power? Are you afraid of your own power? And another affirmation could be, I feel my power in my bones. Another thing that's stated here is maybe you were taught to reduce your power so as not to scare others away. And that's how this connects. A lot of us are taught in girlhood to reduce our power, to lower our voices, to scale back on our desires, our ambitions, our plans, etc., and not scare other people away. There are many prisons placed on wild women by those who are afraid to embrace the strength of a woman unleashed. I'm trying to think of an affirmation there too. I guess it could be, I am a woman unleashed, or I am a person unleashed. And to reduce this strength within you is to dampen your soul's purpose in this lifetime. So this is an important reminder about reclamation. What are you reclaiming and putting into your cauldron? Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and move over to the daily magic oracle here, because this is just a related concept as well. And this one just says, in Sumerian lore, the goddess Inanna passes through 7 gates on her way to the underworld, the place of death and rebirth. I did a whole 7-gate series about Inanna in the Goddess Magic Mystery School in November, and that's still available as a separate collection over there if you want to check it out. I'll link to it below. At each gate, she gives up an article of clothing or personal power representing one of her divine powers. What do you need to give up for your own renewal? So the first stage in the creative process of the Cauldron of Creation is about releasing, emptying the cauldron, clearing things out so that you can make space for what wants to emerge and wants to grow. So that was already last week's theme for our community practice, etc. But this is a good reminder. What do you need to give up for your own renewal? What do you need to let go of? There's a reason why spring often prompts this spring cleaning kind of frenzy in us, is because we know at some level that we need to give things up in order to make space for other things. So what are you giving up to make space for your own renewal? And then we'll hop on over to the Self-Sorcery card, which I also love. It is a returning. And a quick reminder, we're always invited to return. We can always return, especially if we feel off kilter, if we feel out of touch, if we feel disconnected, if we feel a longing for more magic, if we feel a longing for more, we're always invited to return. We're always invited to return. We can always come back. And so let's see what Lisa has to say about this. Self-sorcery is a return to your intuition, a return to your wisdom, a return to your magic. Ooh, affirmation could be, I return to my magic. Another one could be, I return to my wisdom. A return, oh my goodness, I didn't see this till just now. A return to your remembrance of you and your pelvic bowl as a cauldron and container to cultivate your magic. So if we look at our own bodies as a container to cultivate our magic, if we tune in, sometimes you can tap into, I used to do meditations, mine's a pelvic bowl clearing, where I learned that from Tammy Lynn Kent, I think. I might have that name wrong. She wrote Wild Feminine, and she has you mentally like sweep around your own internal cauldron and sweep away the cobwebby, inhibitions that are there, suffocating your dreams, so to speak, but actually let yourself tap into that cauldron of creation, that sense, that pelvic bowl, and sweep your attention around it and see where your energy might be stuck, where things might be blocked, where something needs to change or be shook loose. And so that's a potential practice for this week. And so Lisa goes on to say, it's a return to holding your unique to you vibration and frequency without fear, a return to nourishing and nurturing yourself, which is perfect because April's theme is nourish. So what do you need to nourish and nurture yourself? Are you able to nourish and nurture yourself for no reason other than to let it feel good? And this is, she goes on to point out that no matter how much we are told it's selfish and self-indulgent to do things for no reason other than it feels good, this is actually a magical practice that creates healing ripples. So an affirmation, I am returning to it all. I am returning to it all. And yeah. And she goes on to also say that we're not really necessarily talking about strength, like this is what we might need to consider what it is that makes us stronger, but it's not necessarily muscular or hold it all together strength. It's about the strength, fortification, and resilience that comes with knowing and trusting all that we are and all that we are about deep down in the belly of the Pythoness. So that is an interesting one as well. If you descend through the layers of your body and connect to that mysterious primal spark of intelligence that informs every living thing and you feel what's real and right and liberating for you. You nourish yourself and you flourish by that descent within, that time spent listening to that primal spark within that knows what's right and good for you. And so that's the invitation is to return to that knowing, return to that source, return to that primal place of power. And then we're going to go ahead and close. I was trying to keep these a little shorter than I have been. And so we're going to go ahead and close with our little card from our Cauldron of Creation deck. And the affirmation is, within the bubbling depths, I honor my story and trust my process. Within the bubbling depths, I honor my story and trust my process. And a prompt, if you want to explore more in writing, is, what chapter of my story wants attention today? You could connect it back to Inanna with, what gate am I passing through today? What gate am I passing through today? And you may wish to explore your own maiden stories and how they have been at work in your life, what you may have been told is acceptable for you, what's within your reach, what's, right or true or okay about your own power. That might be a story that you want to rewrite into a new form. So thank you so much for being here. May you drop into that place of power within you and listen to your own deep wisdom. May you remember that you can always return. Thanks so much for being here. Keep living your magic, everybody. Bye-bye.